Greenland, the world's largest island, is covered by an ice sheet so massive it contains nearly 10% of the planet's fresh water. But beneath that ice lies untapped resources and strategic opportunities that have made Greenland a target of global interest for decades. Could the United States ever buy Greenland? Stick around to explore the fascinating history, geopolitical stakes, and the challenges of such an acquisition. If you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Greenland's location at the center of the Arctic makes it a critical asset in global geopolitics. As climate change opens up once frozen waters, new Arctic shipping lanes are emerging, significantly reducing travel times between Europe, Asia, and North America. Controlling Greenland means controlling these vital trade routes. Beyond trade, Greenland is a cornerstone of military defense. It hosts Thule Air Base, the northernmost U.S. military facility, crucial for surveillance and missile detection. This base monitors threats from nations like Russia and safeguards North American security. If the United States owned Greenland, it could strengthen its military presence and tighten its grip on Arctic defense systems. Greenland is also rich in resources. Beneath its icy surface lie vast deposits of rare earth elements essential for technologies like smartphones, electric vehicles, and renewable energy systems. With demand for these minerals rising, owning Greenland would mean direct access to them. Additionally, the island holds potential oil and natural gas reserves, now more accessible as Arctic ice melts. Its waters, teeming with fish, present further economic opportunities. The melting ice caps amplify Greenland's significance. New trade routes and exposed resources have intensified global competition, with powers like Russia and China increasing their Arctic presence. By acquiring Greenland, the United States could secure dominance in this strategically vital region. Historically, the United States has expressed interest in Greenland more than once. The first attempt dates back to 1867, shortly after the purchase of Alaska, though no formal talks occurred. In 1946, President Harry Truman offered Denmark $100 million in gold for Greenland, recognizing its strategic value during the Cold War. Denmark declined, unwilling to give up such a vital part of its kingdom. Greenland's combination of strategic location, natural resources, and geopolitical importance makes it uniquely valuable. But the question remains, could the United States ever buy Greenland? And what would that mean for the world? In recent years, the idea of buying the island gained attention again in 2019 when President Donald Trump openly suggested purchasing the island, calling it a strategic opportunity. The suggestion sparked widespread reactions, from humor to outright criticism. Denmark's prime minister dismissed the idea as absurd, and Greenland's government made their stance clear: Greenland is not for sale. It wasn't just about rejecting a purchase, it was about protecting their autonomy and cultural identity. For Greenlanders, the idea of being seen as a commodity is deeply offensive. While the island is technically part of the Kingdom of Denmark, it has significant self-governance and a strong push for greater independence. Leaders and residents have repeatedly emphasized that the future of Greenland is theirs to decide, not something to be negotiated by foreign powers. The repeated U.S. interest in Greenland isn't surprising, though. The island's strategic and economic importance is undeniable. A potential U.S. investment in Greenland could bring major changes: improved infrastructure, better transportation networks, and modernized facilities. Tourism, already a growing industry, could flourish with better accessibility and promotion. The untapped potential of Greenland's natural resources, rare earth elements, oil, and natural gas, might generate jobs and revenue, drastically boosting the local economy. But this kind of growth wouldn't come without risks. Rapid resource extraction could wreak havoc on Greenland's fragile environment, threatening its ecosystems and wildlife. Worse, profits might primarily benefit large corporations or outside investors, leaving local communities with little to show for it. These issues could lead to growing inequality, undermining Greenland's progress towards sustainable independence. If the U.S. ever did acquire Greenland, the geopolitical impact would be enormous. Denmark would lose its Arctic stronghold, weakening its position in the region. On the other hand, the money from such a deal could significantly bolster Denmark's economy. NATO dynamics might also shift, with Greenland no longer a part of Denmark's Arctic strategy, but instead under direct U.S. control. Other global powers wouldn't take this lightly. Russia, already ramping up its Arctic activities, would see a stronger U.S. presence in Greenland as a direct threat. China, which has ambitions in Arctic trade and resource development, would likely view it as a major obstacle. This could lead to heightened tensions in the region, sparking debates over sovereignty and territorial claims as other nations vie for Arctic influence. Perhaps the biggest concern of all would be the cultural impact on Greenland itself. Greenlanders have a rich heritage, from their Inuit traditions to their native language, Kalaallisut. Under U.S. governance, there would be fears of cultural erosion, whether it's the loss of language, traditions, or identity. For a nation so proud of its history and independence, such a change would be hard to accept. Would Greenland become a U.S. state, a territory, or something in between? If it were a state, it would gain representation in Congress and more autonomy. As a territory, however, it might face restrictions similar to Puerto Rico, with limited self-governance and no voting rights in federal elections. Either way, Greenlanders would likely resist foreign control, especially if U.S. policies clash with their cultural and environmental priorities. From a military standpoint, Greenland's strategic value is undeniable. The island could enhance U.S. Arctic defense capabilities with new bases, expanded surveillance, and increased military presence. However, this would likely escalate tensions with Russia, which has already militarized its Arctic territories. An arms race in the region could spark international concern and draw criticism from environmental groups over the risks of conflict in such a fragile ecosystem. Greenland's autonomy further complicates any talk of acquisition. Since achieving self-governance in 1979 and expanded autonomy in 2009, Greenland handles its domestic affairs, while Denmark oversees defense and foreign relations. Any sale would require Greenland's consent, as international law guarantees its people the right to self-determination. This means Greenlanders themselves would decide their future, not foreign governments. Legal and historical hurdles also stand in the way. For example, a 1917 agreement between Denmark and the United Kingdom gives the UK the right of first refusal should Denmark ever consider selling Greenland. This alone complicates any potential U.S. acquisition. Assessing Greenland's value is tricky. Back in 1946, the U.S. offered $100 million for the island, roughly equivalent to $1.3 billion today. But that figure doesn't account for Greenland's current worth, bolstered by its untapped resources and strategic Arctic location. Some estimates place its value in the tens of billions, but the true cost would include infrastructure investments, environmental protections, and social services, expenses that could raise doubts among U.S. taxpayers. Furthermore, the ethical implications of purchasing a land inhabited by an indigenous population add another layer of complexity. Ultimately, while Greenland's strategic and economic appeal is clear, the political, legal, and financial barriers make the prospect of a U.S. acquisition highly unlikely. Greenland's autonomy, its people's right to self-determination, and the logistical challenges involved all suggest that the idea of such a purchase may remain a historical curiosity rather than a reality. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the Atlas Cove.